guys, and welcome back, and welcome to episode 7 of Wixo. So, this series is definitely coming along pretty nicely, and I will admit that. So, how about we begin an event? Alright, now as we know, the Red Square Alliance is doing pretty good for themselves, as they are one of the only alliances on the world. Now, Egypt is by far what I figured to be one of the stronger members. However, let's change that, shall we? Because many people living in Libya who feel that their territory has been ignored for quite some time begin a revolt. And Egypt, well, notices this, but figures they can deal with it. Oh, what the hell happened there? Oh, sorry. But it doesn't go to... But they don't... But it doesn't... But it doesn't end up going to plan, as most of Libya is pretty much captured by the Libyan rebels. So with absolutely no choice, Libya is granted its independence, to which Libya, well, almost full independence. See, Libya isn't entirely going to survive. So Libya is independent. So Libya becomes an autonomous territory to Egypt, to which Egypt agrees to build a city. And this city becomes the capital of Libya. But with Egypt already sort of losing control over their own territories, it won't be surprising that, oh my god, sorry guys, calendar app. The Egyptian Empire is bound to collapse at some point. And it seems as that revolution will basically happen, as the Lebanese give themselves independence, granting a random city in the middle of the desert about their capital. But unlike the Red Sea state and Libya, they are fully independent from Egypt. Now, interestingly, Egypt does maintain the waters, and honestly, we don't need to question that. But honestly, Egypt's kind of suffered enough, so let's go. Now, anyway, okay, the country of Kazakhstan basically extends quite large, and it ends up creating a lot of cities. By the way, this is... wait, hold on. With the Kazakh Empire being the... Okay, I may have to do territorial waters. So yes, with the Kazakh Empire and Caspia basically sort of existing together, but with Kazakhstan pretty much being the more powerful nation, Caspia is starting to see potential opportunities, and it invades Armenia. Now, it could invade Armenia, but chooses not to due to a massive alliance, due to the potential of a massive alliance going against them. And interesting. But interestingly, okay, hold on. However, believe it or not, Caspia and Persia make themselves a union. And by the way, this pencil will represent unions. They redraw their borders and the creation of Caspia Persia. Persia Caspia. Yeah, we'll call it Caspia Persia is created. This is basically a much larger state that quickly becomes quite dominant. And it takes its first opportunity as members of the Red Square Alliance start to maybe be distant from each other. One of the main reasons why is Egypt. Now with Egypt being the strongest member of the with Egypt being the strongest member of the alliance, and with them currently being destroyed, what this means is if Egypt basically collapses, the Red Square Alliance will have no way to actually protect themselves in the Mediterranean. Now, while they do have Armenia is currently Armenia's land is currently sought after by Lebanon, Caspia Persia. Hold on, let me just... Caucasia and even Greece. So Armenia feels like it's not worth it. With Egypt and Armenia being the dominant members of the alliance, most of the members figure that they do not want to be a part, do not really want to be in an alliance with these nations. So Kashmir, Oman, Qatar, Arabia, and Yemen all become a part of a new dark green square alliance, with Armenia and Egypt basically feeling quite betrayed. So Armenia and Greece, Armenia and Egypt invite Greece to join the Red Square Alliance. And later, Morocco, a much more powerful Morocco that is, joins the alliance as well. Now, it probably should. With the current state, and so with nations like Mesopotamia and Lebanon with Mesopotamia and Lebanon currently standing between the two alliances, they basically begin a sort of small Cold War. Now, anyway, remember India? Yeah, India remembers India. Here's the thing. India has not fully given up on their expansion. And so India expands much further up north. But anyway, we also have the start of some new kingdoms, such as the Kingdom of Vietnam and the Kingdom of Thailand, or we'll simply call them Vietnam and Thailand. So how about we begin a Chinese battle? As each of the Chinese regimes may start competing for more power. But anyway, I don't think we go to Europe a lot, so let's go to Europe. Now, with the Second Intermarrian Commonwealth being around, it collapses. Yeah, did you really expect this alliance to last that long? Yeah. So yes, Estonia and Lithuania are the first to leave the alliances. Then along comes the state of northern Ukraine, who also leaves the alliance. Okay, I don't know why I keep saying alliance like it's that. It's not. Straight lines. I don't like them. Yeah, sorry about this. So yeah, and Belarus is also independent. But with this, and also a new nation, Western Ukraine. Now I realize that I do not actually. So what I'm gonna do is use Ficta. So yes, this red dot will sort of symbolize exclaves, which this is a Polish territory. So this is a Polish territory. But I guess Eastern Poland sort of acts independently. And it does indeed act independently, as it pretty much goes on its own mission. Basically sort of doing that thing. So anyway, let's go to the north. As we as we see the rise of the Uralic people. The Uralic people create the state known as Murmansk. And they now border Sweden. So Sweden quickly creates competition. Oh my god, okay, hold on. But yes. Now, now guess what? This doesn't stop Sweden's ventures. As Greenland starts to see more settlement. With a larger Swedish territory. Yeah, also, I'm gonna probably use the same tactic that I previously did, like Poland. So Sweden will get a blue dot. And this blue dot will represent So yes, this blue dot will perfectly represent all of Sweden's territories. But Sweden decides to start something new. And Sweden enters the New World. With the blue dot once again representing the territory. Now Sweden decides to keep the discovery for themselves. But with the territory being much cooler, somewhat, it's a perfect territory. And Swedish colonists actually begin further integration and settlement of the territory. However, it seems as something leaked. Because Iberia finds out about the New World. And this begins Iberia's own stage of colonizing the New World. Yet something that you guys should probably know is due to the lack of development over territory. Oh, what the fuck? So anyway, we'll use a green dot for Morocco. So yeah, basically we start to see the early colonization of territory of the New World. With Iberia, so basically Iberia, Morocco, and Sweden all have territory in the New World. Yet, the lack of technology won't benefit them much. However, but the secret completely gets out about the discovery of the New World. And England, unsurprisingly, wants a piece of it. And so England develops their own territory. So yes, as much of the nation, so pretty much every nation begins early colonization, yet no major colonies are ever developed. But still, the discovery of the New World the discovery of the New World inspires people. Sorry, I was so quiet. About that. Anyway. So yes, we've started to see early colonization and everything. Now, anyway, let's create a territory over here known as Tuva. Basically just Tanatuva. Now, anyway, so remember that Polish territory? Yeah, it expanded. And it began massive expansion to the point where Poland actually becomes the biggest country in the world. But still these Polish colonists, as I'll call them, are still acting very independently from the Polish mainland. In fact, it's even to the point where Poland even wonders on whether it's worth controlling the territory which they called Grand Rus, or Russia. And Poland ends up deciding that it's not worth it. So they give up control and allow Russia independence. Now, surely Poland will not regret this in the future. But anyway, it seems as the Russians were now looking for desires to expand further into Siberia. And they end up doing it. But still, there are many other nations. And so, it's simple. With a massive territory to split up, there's basically a massive territory to split up. So Russia ends up calling a meeting between themselves, Kazakhstan, Tuva, and Manchuria, and also Beijing and Kamchatka to discuss the future of Siberia. Siberia makes their claims first. And they claim a large amount of Siberia. Manchuria is next, and they claim themselves a pretty large bunch of territory. However, with Manchuria wanting to limit the amount of territory Beijing gets, actually claims much more territory than that. Beijing is basically forced to take the scraps. Tanatuva's next, and they make a bold decision. Claiming all of this. Now, I know this may seem unrealistic to many of you, but this is my series, so fuck off. Kazakhstan is next up for discussion, and they claim a large bit. And so Russia chooses to claim the rest of Siberia. And so, with the partitions of Siberia over, Russia has now grown even stronger. To which they incorporate this area into their territory. However, Russia sees an opportunity. They see the conflict between Armenia and they start to see a conflict between Armenia and Caucasia. And Russia makes a bold decision, choosing to join the Red Square Alliance. Caucasia is now in for it. This bold decision leads to the combined invasion by both Armenia and Russia to conquer Caucasia. the partition of Caucasia goes something like this. Also, Kazakhstan is weirdly invited to the meeting. I don't know why. There's no reason why they would be, but whatever. Now, Kazakhstan ends up getting a small chunk of Caucasia. It's not much, but it's the best. Now, Russian strength is increasing. And northern Ukraine actually takes the opportunity to join Russia. The reason why they may join Russia is, I guess, Slavic alignment. And unsurprisingly, Belarus joins Russia as well. And Ukraine mainland Ukraine, main Ukraine now under threat, sells territory to Russia for peace. So, with Russia now being a major power, it's pretty clear Poland Poland is starting to regret getting rid of Russia, as Russia in just like probably 12 years has expanded to a massive extent. In fact, new Russian cities are being built for further settlement. So, but I'm not done. Russia begins a takeover over much of Finland. And Estonia now in an uncomfortable position. So yeah, Estonia now in an uncomfortable position submits to Russia. Now I am going to redraw some borders here a bit. So yeah, oh yeah, I do want to say thank you guys for the 1K views over my Twisted Anatomy Brain Fart literally video. I never expected it to go that far, and I'm really thankful it did. Oh shit! Sorry guys. But yeah. Thank you guys. So yes, we may start to see the tensions of a world war come around. Nah, I'm kidding. Probably not a world war, but more maybe a major war. So, yeah. So, will we see a world war start over it? Let's find out in the next video, okay? Bye. You know what, before we go, let's take a look at the world map. So as we see, there is a small colonization of North America, but not a lot. But yeah. Bye guys. See you in the next video.